Way back, before we even started writing things down, there were stories. You know, the kind of stories that try to answer the biggest questions we have about who we are and where we came from. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most powerful creation myths from ancient China, the incredible legend of Nuwa. I want you to just picture it for a second. A world freshly made. You've got these majestic mountains, pristine rivers, all sorts of animals, but there's no one there to truly see it, to give it a name, to feel wonder. It really makes you think, what was the world like before we showed up? So after the cosmos sorted itself out and the heavens and earth separated, the world was the stunning, raw masterpiece. Birds were flying, animals were roaming around. It was perfect. But it was also silent, a deep, profound silence. And in the middle of all this empty beauty, a goddess felt an echoing loneliness. And this was Nuwa, a being of just immense, ancient power. She had the head and torso of a human woman, but her lower body was that of a great serpent. She wasn't just another god. She was a fundamental force of nature, a shaper of worlds, and, as it turns out, the future mother of all humankind. As Nuwa wandered this incredible new world, she just couldn't shake the feeling that something was, well, missing. She loved the flowers and the trees and all the creatures, but they lacked a certain spark, you know? They had life, sure, but they didn't have that spirit. They couldn't talk, they couldn't think, they couldn't create. To her, the world was definitely alive, but it wasn't yet whole. So that feeling, that sense of incompleteness, it sparked a truly divine idea. Nuwa decided she would create beings that could think and feel, beings with cleverness and spirit. And right there, from the earth itself, a whole new chapter for the world was about to begin. So she sat down by the famous yellow river, scooped up a handful of yellow earth, and she started to sculpt. She shaped it to look like her, but instead of a serpent's tail, she gave these new figures 2 legs. These first few humans, they were her masterpieces, every single one crafted with incredible care. But, you know, the world is a big place, and this was taking forever. So she came up with a much faster way. She grabbed a vine, dunked it in the river mud, and just whipped it through the air. Every single drop of mud that splattered on the ground sprang to life as a new person. And legend says that right there, in that act, the first social classes were born. And can you just imagine the scene? As she worked, this huge crowd of new beings started to gather all around her. And with a single breath from her divine lungs, she animated them all. They could stand up, they could walk, they could talk. For the first time, the silence of the world was filled with laughter and voices. That deep loneliness Nuwa felt, it was just gone, replaced by the pure joy of a mother surrounded by her children. But her work still wasn't done. See, for her creation to last, it needed a system. So she infused them with the principles of yin and yang, creating men and women. And then, and this is crucial, she established marriage so that humanity could grow and thrive all on its own. She didn't just make a bunch of people, she built the foundations of society. For ages, things were good. Humanity lived in peace, and their creator watched over them. But that peace, it was about to be absolutely shattered. A war broke out up in the heavens between Gong, the god of water, and Zhurong, the god of fire. Gong lost, and in a fit of pure rage, he did the unthinkable. He smashed his head against Buzhu Mountain, one of the giant pillars holding up the entire sky. The impact was beyond catastrophic. The pillar crumbled, the sky itself tilted violently, and a massive hole was ripped open in the fabric of the heavens. The very foundations of the world buckled and split apart. This was a full-blown apocalypse. From huge cracks in the ground, unbelievable fires just erupted, swallowing forests and turning the world to ash. And through that gaping hole in the sky, the celestial river just poured down, unleashing floods that drowned everything in their path. The natural order was completely broken. Terrifying beasts and ancient monsters crawled out from the shadows, preying on the helpless people. Nuwa's children were being hunted. From high above, Nuwa saw it all. Her heart completely broke watching her creation being torn apart. These weren't just creatures to her, they were her children, and she was not about to abandon them. Her grief quickly turned into an unshakable determination. So Nuwa set out to do the impossible. She was going to fix a broken world. This wasn't just a creator tidying up. This was a mother, fighting with everything she had to save her family. Her to-do list was cosmic. First, she had to find and melt down magical 5-colored stones to create a paste to patch that giant hole in the sky. Then, to prop the heavens back up, she found a colossal turtle, cut off its legs, and used them as 4 new pillars for the corners of the earth. She hunted down and killed the terrifying black dragon that was causing so much chaos. And finally, she burned reeds into ash to build massive dams to hold back the floods. And just like that, her heroic work was done. The world was whole again. The sky was blue, the pillars holding it up were strong, the floods were gone, and her children, they were safe. And it's said that the beautiful rainbows we see after a storm, that's the light shining through the colors of the very stones Nüwa used to mend the heavens, a constant reminder of her love and her sacrifice. So you see, Nüwa's story is so much more than just a myth. It's an epic about creation, yes, but also about destruction and salvation. It's a story about the resilience of life and that incredible bond between a creator and their creation. And the amazing thing is, its core ideas are found all over the world. I mean, look at this. When you start digging into creation myths from around the globe, this fascinating pattern starts to show up. This idea that humans were made from the earth itself, from clay or mud, it's everywhere, from Africa to the Americas to New Zealand. All these cultures, separated by thousands of miles and thousands of years, all came to a very similar conclusion about where we came from. Okay, but what about the whole cataclysm part? The broken sky, the fires, the world-ending floods? Is that just a wild story? Well, some scholars now think it could be what's called a folk memory, a story that describes a very real, very traumatic event from our distant past, maybe a massive earthquake or a meteor impact that our ancient ancestors somehow survived and then passed down through the generations in the language of myth. And that's what we're left with, isn't it? The story of Nuwa is about a goddess who created us and then saved us. But maybe, just maybe, it's also our own story, a story about surviving against all odds, passed down in these epic tales. It makes you wonder, what other real truths are hiding in plain sight, inside the myths our ancestors told?